Okay, so trying to manage your time when you're online learning, living at home or living someplace off campus, and you have to make your own schedule. There might be some timed classes, um, videos, live lectures, but you might have no structure at all. If you haven't watched the Workday video, the online learning time management Workday video, you should probably watch that because this is just a continuation of that. So we talked in that video about trying to add structure, and the structure that I recommended was a Workday structure. And in this video, I want to talk in terms of not just time, but also space. Because if you're in a living arrangement where that's the place where you're doing all of your work, where you're actually doing things actually is a big consideration as well. And so there's the time that you'd like to set aside to be getting stuff done, but you also have to think about the space, the actual physical environs where you're doing things. If you're lucky, you have your own space and you can maybe try and protect that, especially during the time that you're doing things, your work day chunk of time. And a lot of that might have to do with or involve communication with the people you live with. If it's your family, if it's roommates, or whoever, you have to figure out, okay, in this chunk of time in the day, in my space, can we agree in the family with the roommates that this is my work time as if I were going off to class or going to work or something where I'd be able to focus on that as opposed to just since I happen to be there, then that means that anybody can talk to me at any time. And that makes it hard for me to get my work done. So communicating with the people you live with is a big part of it. And you might not be lucky enough to actually have your own space, in which case the communication is even more important. Is there a place in the house or the apartment where you can designate that as your space for these certain amounts of time? And other people can agree with you on that, whether it's the kitchen table or a particular room or something where you can focus, be on the computer to watch your lectures or to do the work you have to do for class, whatever it is. So that's really not always that easy. One good way to think of trying to implement any kind of a plan is as a process. It's not that you create the plan or set the goals and um, that then it's just set. It's just kind of like trying to make up New Year's resolutions or any kind of change in your life. It never goes smoothly, or it almost never goes smoothly. It's very hard to kind of predict what's actually going to happen, and so it's usually good to assume that there's going to be a spread between what you actually want and what actually happens. I wanted to set aside these times in this place for me to get my work done, but I keep getting interrupted. I keep having to do chores, or people just are around and want to hang out. I have to walk the dog or do whatever, and so maybe I have to make some adjustment to my plan. So maybe those exact hours in that exact place is not perfect. Maybe I have to adjust it a little bit, but maybe also I have to change my behavior, or other people have to help me out and change their behavior to recognize that I'm trying to set this. And so a good way to think of like trying to implement anything new is as this kind of process where in between basically you have communication with the other people around you, but also with yourself, trying to figure out like, okay, how do I tweak things, adjust things bit by bit so that the plan and what actually happens start to sort of come together a little bit. But it's good to recognize that this is usually not a very smooth process. It'll be kind of up and down. Sometimes it'll work better than other times. And also to realize that these two things, the plan and the actual, likely will never meet up perfectly, But the key thing is, as long as you're communicating about these things, trying to figure out, okay, how do I adjust the times that I'm trying to work? And how do I adjust the space in which I'm trying to work so that I can try and develop some kind of a routine that I can follow as if it were a regular work day or a regular school day. And I keep trying to tweak it between my goals and what actually ends up happening.